Welcome viewers to the Colonel Speaks. While the world fights on with the coronavirus pandemic, latest reports and investigative journalism the world over indicates only one thing, and that is the Great Chinese Conspiracy and the beginning of a new world order. Before we dwell on the discussion any further, please like, subscribe and share this video and of course this channel. It was about 6 months ago that China actually started getting ready for a major biological threat, even before COVID-19 hit the scene. Shanghai Port, known as the Yangshan Port, is the busiest container port in the world. About 6 months back, Yangshan Port saw tens of thousands of shipping containers being unloaded from all over the world. These containers contain lakhs of masks, gloves and personal protection equipment. Ships from USA and other major European countries were reaching various ports of China with such merchandise. Each ship came loaded with hundreds of containers carrying medical equipment and personal protection equipments. According to a report published in a leading news journal, between 24th of January to 29th of February, China received more than 2 billion masks and 25 million PPEs. A 15th of April report by the Associated Press is largely indicative of the fact that the Chinese negligence or very careful diligence led to the local epidemic become a global pandemic. This was a time when China was fighting the coronavirus and the world was largely unaffected. It was then that China pulled out majority of the masks and PPEs out of the world's markets, including USA and Europe. On 26 January, China issued a notice to all its citizens residing abroad to donate N95 masks, PPEs, sanitizers, etc., which is exactly what the massive non-resident Chinese community did. They emptied whatever was still left in the markets of US and Europe and sent them to China. As per one estimate, China pulled out approximately more than 2 billion masks and suits from the global markets. The Chinese community staying in Los Angeles alone donated almost 60 tons worth of masks and other equipments. All this happened while the world was being fooled by the Chinese in concert with the World Health Organization. While the Chinese were busy shopping and preparing itself for the war that was going to wage on the world, WHO kept on assuring the world that there was no major reason to worry about. Much after China had its first death to coronavirus on 14 Jan, WHO tweeted, "Preliminary investigations conducted by the Chinese authorities have found no clear evidence of human-to-human transmissions," which was actually in line with the stated Chinese theory, and contrary to what some of the Chinese doctors thought as early as December 2019. Doctors were coerced into silence by a broadcast on national television on 2nd January, which said, "Punishment of 8 doctors for rumor mongering." The major question one needs to ask is, while China claims to manufacture almost 50% of the masks and PPEs globally, then why did China require so many more masks and PPEs? The answer seems too obvious, but one which is equally unbelievable. The virus, when it hit the other countries, they didn't have enough medical stores to protect themselves. China had generated an artificial scarcity in order to set up its shop. It came out now as a major supplier of the same medical stores that it had picked up earlier. While the world was grappling with the coronavirus, what was China doing? China took advantage of the plummeting market and was busy buying large stakes in the major corporate establishments the world over, especially in the US and Europe. It also came forward apparently to help other countries by selling the same medical stores that it had picked up from them at a much higher price earlier. It started flexing its muscles in the South China Sea, which was largely uncontested due to the US Navy being busy back home. On 11th April, Chinese Navy carried out major anti-ship, anti-submarine and anti-aircraft exercises, which included launching of torpedoes and missiles. On 29th March, Chinese Air Force jets violated Taiwanese airspace, which led to Taiwan mobilizing its F-16s and forced the Chinese aircrafts to turn back. What was the military urgency for China to conduct these exercises, especially at such a time when the entire world was fighting the disease? The world will never be the same again. Due to the Chinese misadventure, the entire mankind is paying a huge price. While the origin and the intent for creating the virus are debatable and under global investigation, but one thing seems certain, that the only country which has played its cards perfectly is China, as if the crisis was tailor-made for it to further its agenda. At the economic front, the US and many of the European countries have started calling out the Chinese bluff. Japan has already asked its companies to pull out of China and relocate to Japan or any other country, for which it has promised a stimulus of 2.2 billion US dollars. US has similarly shown determination in pulling out its companies from China since the US-China trade war started. The coronavirus pandemic has businesses and lawmakers intensifying efforts to move their supply chains out of China. Businesses will never pull out of China completely since it represents too large a market in itself to ignore. But the virus has put many businesses on notice that they need to diversify their supply chains. At the same time, President Trump and members of Congress are providing additional incentives by vowing to change trade rules to discourage Chinese sources. South Korea is likely to follow suit with its corporate giants including Samsung Electronics, Hyundai Motors and Kia Motors are also keen to relocate all or part of their businesses out of China in a bid to reduce their overdependence on the mainland. While not connected with the pandemic directly, according to a study released by the German Chamber of Commerce in China, 23% of the German companies operating in China have either decided to withdraw or are considering it. A third of those companies have planned to leave China entirely. Henry Jackson Society has published its report on the coronavirus culpability and probable compensation claims, in which it says that global lawsuits against China for patent breaches of the international health regulations over its handling of COVID-19 could run to at least £3.2 trillion from just the nations of the G7. China failed to disclose data that would have revealed evidence of human-to-human transmissions for a period of up to 3 weeks from being aware of it in breach of Articles 6 and 7 of the International Health Regulations. The Chinese government provided the WHO with erroneous information about the number of infections between 2nd Jan and 11th of Jan 2020 in breach of Articles 6 and 7 of the International Health Regulations. China failed to proscribe avoidable vectors of lethal zoonotic, that is animal-originated viral infection. Instead, actively promoted the massive proliferation of dangerous viral host species for human consumption in breach of Article 12 of the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. China also allowed 5 million people to leave Wuhan before imposing the lockdown on 23rd January 2020, despite knowledge of human-to-human transmissions. Based on the formally announced government spending, the UK is said to have a claim worth a potential £351 billion. The US could claim £933.3 billion, Canada £47.9 billion, and Australia £29.9 billion. At the geopolitical level, the US last month enacted the Taiwan Allies International Protection and Empowerment Initiative Act, or the Taipei Act 2019, which is designed to protect Taiwan from international isolation and Chinese coercion, and also ensure that Taiwan is granted membership or observer status in all international forums. Taiwan has been the Achilles heel of China, and this act is sure to enlarge the chasm between the two countries. As I say it, the world will align itself to a new order post-COVID-19. The West will not forgive what China did, and it will not be in a hurry to forget. Security and economic alliances will form to take down the dragon. Inadvertently, what the world couldn't do against a rising Chinese threat, China itself has done that. China has always been very candid and outright in letting India and the world know about its dislike for India. The Chinese have tried to cause harm to India in many ways. Chinese aggression in 1962 was meant to humiliate India and the government of the day at the global level. China's annexation of Aksai Chin since then has been a sore reminder of that. In 1963, Pakistan ceded 5,000 square kilometers of Pakistan-occupied territory to China to make Kashmir a trilateral issue, which despite India's opposition, China still retains. Overt and covert Chinese support to Pakistan against India on issues relating to Kashmir on all international forums. Chinese have been vetoing against India's efforts to denounce and declare Maulana Masood Azhar as a global terrorist. Chinese opposition to India's candidacy for a permanent chair at the United Nations Security Council. Chinese intrusion in eastern territories, especially that of Arunachal Pradesh. China has expressed its support for the Naxalite movement against the Indian state.
China has been supporting militancy movements in the Indian northeastern states. Chinese adventure in Doklam was primarily aimed at getting closer to the Chicken Neck or the Siliguri corridor, which is of strategic importance to India. The corridor is only link with mainland India with the northeast and is just 26 kilometers at its narrowest stretch. What path should India take? India has to examine its options carefully. Beijing has embarked on a misinformation campaign to try to erase its tracks and absolve itself of guilt by directing the blame onto other nations, especially the US. The Indian government hasn't publicly blamed any nation for causing the pandemic, though it matter-of-factly acknowledged that the first case was reported in China. As per the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, in a conversation with Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar last month, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi raised the issue of what the coronavirus was being called. India agreed not to call it the Chinese virus. The Chinese Foreign Ministry released glowing statements of solidarity, including a message from President Xi Jinping marking the 70th anniversary of diplomatic relations between India and China. China's official media, known for its condescending tone in references to India, has been extolling the virtues of Sino-Indian friendship. It would be pertinent for India not to forget the Chinese betrayal of 1962, despite the popular chant of Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai. India should therefore assert itself in the changing world order and be prepared to play an important and bold role. It needs to invest in new allies such as Taiwan, both strategically and economically. It should modify its policies to climb up the ladder in terms of ease of doing business so that it can encourage the companies that are exiting China to open shop. India is much stronger politically and militarily than it was in 1962. India is a country of 1.3 billion people, roughly representing 1/5 of the world's population, and it is time that it takes its rightful place in the Committee of Nations. Thank you viewers for watching this video, and please don't forget to subscribe. Jai Hind.